Good afternoon, guys. This is teacher María Milagros, and today I am recording the video of the class that we saw today, Monday, February 22nd, 2020, and it's the second and last class about the law of supply. We started the class with a debate or an exchange of ideas about what you guys remembered about what supply is and what is the relationship between supply and price. And also taking the place of a business owner, sorry, when would you like your prices to be the highest? Why? Because you studied all of this for the test that we had a couple of weeks ago. So everything should be still fresh in your minds. Basically, going over this, supply is the amount or quantity of a given product that is offered to the public, okay? The relationship between supply and price is directly proportional. The two increase or decrease in relationship with one another. And if you were a business owner, or if I were a business owner, I would like my prices to be the highest with a high supply. Remember that we had this graph with 3 arrows that each went up, and we had supply, price, and profit. Well, because you as a business owner would like to offer to the public the most expensive item, that means the items that have the highest price, when people would like to have the most amount of it to make the highest profit. Okay, so that was it for this part. In summary, it is what the law of supply states, that as a product price increases, then the quantity of the product provided by sellers also increases. And this quantity provided by sellers is a definition of supply. Why? Because sellers want to increase profits by providing more product to buyers when the price is high, because they want to make more money. And on the contrary, when the price is low, the supply is also low, because you would not like to offer people something that you're not going to make much of a profit on. You would rather focus on things that will make you actually earn money. This is the law of supply in a nutshell. We also learned how price can affect the supply of a product. We just saw it. However, there are also 3 factors that are not related to price that can change a product supply. And we're going to go back to our lobster scenario to illustrate this more clearly. Remember when we sold lobsters for a living in a supermarket, and we started with a small quantity because we had competitors, but people kept coming to our establishment, and then we said, okay, I want to make more money, so let me order more lobsters, and the people still bought them all. You sold out, and you kept ordering and ordering and ordering more lobster to sell, and then you increased the prices and people kept coming. Well, that is the scenario we're going to go back to. What would happen to the supply of lobster if fishermen could more easily find them? Remember that we're introducing the factors that affect supply that are not related to price. So in this case, what would happen to the quantity of lobsters that you as a client received if fishermen, the people in charge of searching the ocean for them, could more easily find them? Would the supply decrease, increase, or stay the same? Well, we had a small debate, but basically the supply would increase. Why? Because they're easier to find. It takes less time, or it's less tedious, they have more machinery, whatever. So the supply would increase because it's easier to find them. This is an example of another factor that is not price related that affects supply. And this is within the cost of production, and I will explain why. Let me go over the cost of production as a factor itself first. Cost of production is how much it costs to bring the product to the buyer. That means, for example, if I am a supermarket, I do not produce my own stuff, so I have to buy them from from someone else, sorry. and then I have to offer them to my clients. That means I spend money in order to buy the product first, and then when I offer it in my establishment and people buy it, that's where I make money. So my cost of production in this case is one, buying the product, then how much I have to pay in transportation, how much I have to pay my workers that are there, the cashiers, the people who pack the bags, the people who clean. These are all costs of production related to my business, which is having a supermarket. Taxes are also within the cost of production. And here we have another example. If transportation is expensive because oil is expensive, then the cost of production will be high. Why? Because one of the factors included within the cost of production goes up. And because of that, the cost of production itself goes up. That means that the supply available to buyers will decrease because I will not spend a lot of money in something that is costly and where I will not have much of a profit because I cannot resell it for a high price because people will not buy it. Then the supply will decrease. Conversely, if the cost of production decreases, the supply increases. And this is where the example of the lobsters comes in. If I had easier access to the lobsters, then I have more supply. And what happens when supply increases? The cost of production decreases. So they're going to be cheaper. That is our first factor. Then we have our second factor, which is competition. Remember competition, we saw it when we saw the market structures. Competition means that you have like different people or enterprises trying to be better than the other by offering similar or equal products. So if a business is selling many of its products at a good profit, that means I'm making a good amount of money, other businesses will notice. That's inevitable. And decide to create the same product to get some of the money and the market too. So as more businesses provide the same product, the supply will increase. Think about bodegones, for example. They weren't as popular as they are now. Now they are everywhere. Everywhere you can find this store that brings products from foreign countries and sell them here. Why? Because people, well, the demand grew, but because they provide the same product, more or less, the supply also increased. 5, 10 years ago, it was really, really hard to find, for example, Nutella or American chocolates or cookies or cereals, or it was super expensive. Right now, you can find them anywhere. So there is more supply than there was before. And on the other hand, if profits are low, then competitors may leave the market. That means, am I going to make money in this area? No? Okay, so I'm leaving. And if several establishments of the same kind start closing, then competition decreases, okay? And because competition decreases, supply also decreases. Think of it as in places who sell cars. For example, there was a time where people who sold cars or who sell cars did not have access to importation, to bringing the cars here. So they had to close. And because they had to close, the amount of cars in the market decreased. So it is less competition, but it is also less supply. And in the third effects of technology, we have, in the third factor, we have effects of technology. What do I mean by this? Technological advances can affect the supply by making it easier to produce a product. Finding a way to make something faster or cheaper will usually result in an increase in the supply of the product. Think, for example, how cars are assembled together. It took people, or well, automobile companies, a long time to make one car. Why? Because everything was assembled by hand. People had to go and screw things together. They needed to paint. They needed to whatever. People, actual individuals. Now almost everything is done by machines. It's faster. It's cheaper because you do not have to pay a salary every month to a machine. You just buy it and then hire someone to fix it if it gets broken. So that makes the product cheaper, and it increases the supply because I can produce more. And the other way around, if you do not have good technology, then it's harder to make a product and it's going to be more expensive. So better technology usually means an increased supply and vice versa. Think also about China. They do not have a better technology than in other countries, but they do have a cheaper labor. That means they pay their workers usually very low salaries that in other countries would not be enough for a worker of that specific industry or post. So the supply from other countries is not as high as it is in China, because in China it's cheaper to produce. So better technology, increased supply. Worse technology or not as developed, low supply. To finish with this class, we have, as always, our check your understanding. So we have this case where John, who is a businessman, he owns a small market that sells produce from local farmers. That means fruits, vegetables, etc. A drought, that means a period of time without rain, has affected the region for several years. Many of the local farmers are using newer but more expensive seeds that are more resilient to weather extremes. The farmers are expecting a good crop yield. Now, what type of non-price factor is affecting John's supply? The effects of technology, competition, or cost of production? We had like split opinions in class, but the actual answer, if you think about it, is cost of production. Why? Because most of the people who didn't vote for cost of production voted for effects of technology. And it's because, as you can see, here, let me turn on the pointer. It's telling you that the seeds are newer, yes, okay, and that is productive, but they are more expensive. Okay, and because they're more expensive, they're going to have to sell the vegetables at a higher price. And with a higher price, if you remember the law of demand, what happens? Demand goes down. As the price goes up, demand goes down. So our main factor in this case is cost of production. If they weren't if they were the same price, you would have effects of technology, but not in this case. As you can see here, the drought reduces the farmer's ability to grow or produce a supply, and they have to buy more expensive seeds to fix the problem. So this is an issue in the cost of production. To close, how many factors in total affect supply? We had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think someone said 7, but there are 4 factors, okay? First one is price, as we saw, and the other 3 we saw today: cost of production, competition, and effects of technology. There's no homework this week, but you do have to copy in your notebook slides 9 through 11, 15, and 16, and in Check Your Understanding, slides 8, 12, 13, and 14. Please make sure to have it ready for next class. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and remember that if you have any question, you can reach out via email, and I will gladly reply. Have a great day.